and we got it back. You've been here before.
A couple of times.
Several of you guys' trucks here.
They're always there.
Yep, there it is.
So,
alright. It's nice to have it back. Oh, it's so good to be back. Let's get this thing started up. For the first time for me. Oh my, that sounds nice. First impressions, it sounds really good. So, got the air built back up, so we got to head back to the shop to clean out the other truck. So, we got the truck back, and we're home now, so let me tell you what happened, and we'll go over the engine. But first, I got to go get coffee. So y'all are probably wondering why I didn't film a whole lot more up in Sioux Falls when I picked up the truck. And once I got the truck, things just started happening really quickly. I just had to go. And then with the new engine and trying to figure things out, the whole deal was just, it was a little more stressful than you realize. I mean, I just dropped a lot of coin on this engine, and trying to add one more thing in on top of what I'm doing was just something that I just didn't need at the moment. So I decided to, you know, keep the footage I did up in Sioux Falls, but then just get home, get the thing parked, and we'll go over it together. First impressions, it's very nice. It is smooth and runs really well. Of course, the thing that sucks about a brand new engine is you have to refamiliarize yourself with all the new noises and sounds and things of that nature. So, new engine, new noises, and that can bring on a little bit of stress. So, you just have to trust that it's going to work out. I know beyond a shadow of a doubt they got coffee in there. Ended up doing the old man thing. I got my coffee and a lottery ticket. I won crap. All right, let's go back to the house. One of the things I was really happy about was I got out and checked this morning, and there's no leaks. So that's a plus, because when the weather gets cold, we're going to start getting some cold water leaks. So let's get this hood open, and I'll show you what's happening. And there's a bunny. Mr. Bunny. One thing I just discovered is that they took this off, and that bolt right there is loose, so I might have to tighten that up. Starting here on the driver's side, they actually fixed that, but everything on here is new from this clamp back. My power steering pump is new, but I'd already replaced it. That didn't come with it, with the Cummins filters. So yeah, like I said, this is mine there, but everything is really nice and clean. Even the oil pan, new oil pan. The last one I had was dented, so it's kind of nice to have a new one. And we'll talk about that here in a minute. So I had actually replaced this just a couple days prior. If you notice this is a retro kit because they don't make the original size nozzle anymore. This is actually an OEM piece that I couldn't get that piece, so they do have an adapter kit for it. Didn't replace the hoses, which surprised me, but it was a good hose. Everything here is new. Turbo, exhaust manifold. This was bad on the old truck. I didn't know about this. So from here down is my old stuff. And the air conditioning compressor and the alternator are mine. Oh, good grief. They actually, the front structure, this is the original front structure. Well, that's interesting. But the water pump's new, the balancer's new, the harmonic balancer's new, and the fan hub is new. Felt a little guilty burning the paint off the exhaust. It's a pretty looking engine. So what a reconditioned engine consists of, if you get the top tier like I did, is basically it gets a new clutch bell housing, to fan hub, but all the stuff that isn't the immediate bolt-on, that doesn't have to do with the actual function of the engine, you have to reuse. Like you saw, the AC compressor, the power steering pump, and the alternator, and the structure. And the structure surprised me. That does surprise me. But so let's go back to the other side. One of the weak points on these engines is the wiring harness, and that was a big selling point with me getting a reconditioned engine. I'd already had to do several repairs on this existing wiring harness. As you can see, it's all new, it's all re-shrink wrapped. Kinda, this stuff right here, the chassis stuff isn't new, but all the engine stuff is, so that makes it really nice. I think this starter was replaced, but I replaced the starter 2 days prior to it going down, so we're really not worried about that. The old starter, because there's no core on it, and I was actually going to do a video on tearing this apart and showing you the similarities between this and a GM starter. But since this one's still good, I might just hold on to it for a little while longer. And parts are getting hard to find, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. So how does it sound? Let's fire it up. All right. So neutral. Very smooth. It is out of air. So, and I'll explain that in a minute, because there's a very real reason that is there. But it's not bad. With these smart nav systems, all you have to do is really just hit that. It'll tell you the FMI. And I've already looked this one up. It's just a pressure code that happens in the exhaust. It comes from time to time. New engine does not mean new exhaust. It's an important thing to realize. But the engine itself came with a new EGR and all that, so that's kind of why I went with that too, as I've explained. But turbo, if it comes with all the new exhaust pieces in the engine that needed to be replaced, that was a win. I noticed exhaust spilling right here, and then I remembered, oh yeah, I probably tipped a jug. Yeah. Whenever you see things leaking like that, your first thought's always, what kind of fresh hell am I in for? Oh yeah, it's just a jug. We'll take care of that tomorrow. Or Tuesday. So let me show you the why you were in there pieces that we've had to replace anyways that came on the Recon. The first thing was the harmonic balancer. These are liquid filled, and they're only good for about half a mil. That's their service life. Once they hit half a mil, you're supposed to change them out, whether they've failed or not. So that liquid dries up and gets clumpy and creates vibration. It'll destroy ECUs. The vibration is weird. It'll do all sorts of weird things to all sorts of things in the truck. So it's a good maintenance item, and it is considered a consumable. So that's the first thing. The air pump was getting it was getting weak, but it was good. But we're not even going to talk about that. I've got a new power steering pump, so let's go to the other side of the engine. There was two things on this side that were really bothering me greatly. One was this, the turbo, and the other one is the EGR. And this on my old truck was broken. So this valve here was about $1,500. This is about $2,500. And this is about brand new, is about $8,000. If I was just to get a long block, none of that stuff would be on it. It would just be a reconditioned block, heads, that about $29,000, you know, the kit. This came with everything. The standard price for this was $39.5, I think, $39.6. And it came with an extra $15,000 to $20,000 worth of things that I was going to have to replace anyways, because this is a million-mile truck. So just spend the money now, save half the money, because you put old parts on new engines, you're going to have old parts, and you'll be replacing them all within the first year. So, like I said, I've explained to you about the check engine light. It's just in the exhaust. It's not a big thing. It clears itself. Getting used to a new engine, there is a break-in procedure. Even if the salesman sells you they're not. I got a hold of a friend of mine who works for Cummins in Columbus. Went to school with the guy. He's been very knowledgeable. He's been very, very helpful. And so I contacted Cummins direct, and basically, so what's the break-in? And he sent me the proper break-in procedure. You got to take it easy. They say drive it like you stole it. Sometimes that works. A lot of times it doesn't. Just feel the truck out. Start working it. You know, you can work the truck hard without abusing it. That's what it's made to do. Just don't abuse it. One of the things that terrified me was listening to all the metal start hardening with the exhaust. You got new exhaust, new turbo. You got parts breaking into each other. And I realized I had this on my old truck when, or an old pickup truck. We put it's just like putting new exhaust on it. The tone's going to sound different until it's been through a couple of heat cycles. And this thing got real. It was sounding real smooth and quiet, and then it started getting loud and rumbly. And then as it started to heat soak up and down, grease, started to heat soak up and down, it started to smooth out again and kind of just fit in and give its own nice sound to it. So that took a little getting used to. As for why I didn't film coming back, like I said, it was just hectic. I just had to go. I had to get a load, and I had so many things on my mind that I just wasn't gonna deal with it. But other than that, I mean, it's great. But there's one other thing that you need to remember. A new engine is going to solve a lot of problems. It's going to solve a lot of immediate problems. It's going to solve some maintenance problems, and it's going to give you peace of mind going down the road. But here's the other side of that coin. You still have a million-mile truck. Fly. And transmission still got 1,000,000 miles on it. Rear end still got 1,000,000 miles on it. I've still got some air leaks in the back I've got to fix. I've still got maintenance items to do on the truck. And the one thing that's kind of making me a little nervous is that new engine, new sounds, new torques. It's going to be putting all that lost power back into the drivetrain. And this next year, I may be in for a transmission. I may be in for a rear end. You have to remember things like this, especially when you're dealing with old equipment. Now, this is a 2014. You wouldn't think that'd be old, but when you got 1,072,000 on it, that's old. So it's one of those things that you just kind of have to be mindful of. Truck's great. I like it. It's going to do everything I need it to do, and it drove back flawlessly. Like I said, I didn't whip it or beat it, but not going to show you too much on the inside right now. It's really dusty and dirty from sitting around for 7 weeks, 8 weeks. And let me tell you why that happened. When we started talking about parts availability and things of that nature, a lot of these trucks that are broke down in these shops right now are broke down because they're needing parts. A buddy of mine works at FedEx as a mechanic. He says they've got between half a dozen and a dozen trucks down needing depth level sensors. They just can't be found. Now, here's the thing, is you could actually, program the trucks not needed. You could program the def out and all that. But then you start running into liability issues, warranty issues, emissions issues. And when you're dealing with a company as large as FedEx, you just can't do that. You're basically violating your own rules, violating the laws, violating the company's rules. I mean, it's just the bureaucracy surrounding. It's not really the truck. It's the BS surrounding it. So they're having to find creative solutions, which they really haven't found too many of them. But the other thing is, I looked at all the different kinds of, that fly's going to be the death of me. I started looking at all sorts of other solutions on what to do. And while this at the surface was the most expensive thing to do. Trust me, I did not set out to spend this much money. I don't even have a total tally on what it is. I just heard it's just shy of 50. And when I get the bill and all that, we'll do a video on what everything cost, including the rental, lost revenue, the engine, just all of it. It's sizable. That's why you need, I keep telling you, owner-operators, the guys that want to do it, keep money laying around. But we it took a week to get the truck in because I was 65th in line. They are busy. But then we had to diagnose what the problem was. And once we discovered what the problem was, then we had to find a solution. And these things take time. And I had to make up my mind, well, do I want to tear the engine down to find out it's just maybe an O-ring and we can fix it that way, or do I want to just across the board? And it didn't take me this long to make a decision because it cost $7,000 and 3 technicians, basically 8 hours to tear down. It was between 8 to 16 hours to tear down an engine. He said it was going to run me between $5,000 and $7,000. That's just to find out what's wrong. That's when I said, you know what? We could tear the engine down and find out it's got a cracked block. We could tear the engine down to find out it's got a cracked head. We could tear the engine down to find out it's got a bad O-ring. You just don't know. Are you willing to gamble? I was not. So we ended up putting a whole new engine in. We just basically cut out the middleman, saved that $7,000 and put it to where it would be more useful. And it took 7 weeks, 7 or 8, I'd have to look. But the reason it took so long is they had it running a week prior, but we popped a check engine life and it was a def level, not def level sensor, it was a def pump was running intermittently. Here's the thing. Any of these systems have to be running perfectly for these guys to release the truck back into the wild. If they send a truck out with a check engine light, they can't. It's it's a whole liability. And all the guy has to do to sue them is say, well, it's my neighbor. It was on when I left. I asked them about it, and they said, don't worry about it. And they could tell you anything, go to a judge, act stupid, and suddenly you got a free engine. That's why they don't do that. Truck had to be in perfect running order for it to leave. They got it all working. It's running great. So, anyhow, this is the truck. This is the engine. I hope you liked it. Got some more stuff coming soon, so I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. See you next video.